I spent my first couple years in fitness really struggling with maintaining a healthy lifestyle. I would go like this, get in super good shape, gain a bunch of weight, go like this again. And when I was on, I was barely eating. I was eating maybe like 1,400 calories, doing a ton of cardio. Looked great in my 21-year-old body. I did my first bodybuilding competition. It was like the best accomplishment I could have done at that time. Extreme mindset I had at the time ruined my metabolism. What is up, everyone? My name is Kara Kellen and I am new here on YouTube. I've been starting to post my shorts and getting a little bit of traction with them, but I'm still like so in my own way with posting long form videos. And so here I am again. I'm sitting on my floor in my office. My kids are kind of cooperating with me right now. Today I'm going to be spilling some tips that I feel like have formed my healthy relationship with food and fitness. So I'm kind of just gonna imagine myself today, Kara at 31 years old, giving advice to my past self that was just barely getting into fitness. A loaded question. I've been in fitness my entire life. I started weightlifting when I was about 13 maybe. Off and on. I wasn't super consistent at that time, but my family owned a gym. My dad was a bodybuilder, and I remember from a young age, I just wanted to look strong. I never wanted to look skinny. I would see like these muscle magazines and these girls that like had this like beautiful muscle, and that's like always what I wanted to look like. So I would drag my dad. I was like, just teach me how to lift weights. I want to learn how to lift weights. I want to learn how to eat healthy. I want to be strong. And so I was a basketball player throughout high school and college, and so like I was weightlifting primarily to be strong for those sports. And then once I was done with my 2 years of basketball in college, I had experienced a lot of injuries. I hoped to play on and didn't end up going to like a 4-year college. It's hindsight, thank you, didn't happen. But after that is like when I started bodybuilding. Brings me to my first tip. My baby is crying. I'm gonna go get her, 1 second. Okay, this is baby Tatum. She's 7 months old this week. We love her so much. Our whole family is just obsessed with her. Dad tried, but didn't quite suffice, I guess. She's kind of a Velcro baby. First tip, and that is that you can still eat flexibly and still see progress. When I first got into fitness, I was like an OG fitness account. There wasn't like very many other women that had them, and macro counting was like kind of like this secret term that like only a select few people knew. And at the time when you were macro counting, you know, a lot of the information that I was receiving is that you had to eat like plain chicken, brown rice, broccoli, asparagus, you know what I'm talking about. Like you literally just had to eat like the most clean foods. And that honestly was hard for me because like I started to develop a kind of like an unhealthy relationship around food, and all I could think was like, oh, I can't have that food. Like I could literally never have that food and still reach my goals. I got back into macro counting in like 2018. It took me a really long time to get back into it. I did like if it fits your macros, and that was like the kind of the term that we used back then. And so I started implementing like fun foods, things that I like to eat. I wasn't like, you know, eating 1,400 calories. I was eating a little bit more, and I was like trying to figure it out and trying to, you know, build something that like I could maintain long term. I started learning that like you can actually go to dinner and eat a steak with, you know, a small little bit of like brownie and ice cream, and like you can kind of still make it work and eat all the fun things that you want to eat and still lose weight, still look lean, and still hit your goals. So I'm curious, leave a comment if you've ever had the same struggle as I have. I know that I'm not alone in this. And number 5, I'll kind of dive a little bit more into portion sizes and things like that. And so be sure to stick around for the next tip that I'm going to be talking about is something that I wish I would have understood when I first got into fitness, and that is there's going to be seasons, and there's going to be a season where you're working extremely hard and you're losing weight, you're lean, and you're super in shape. And then there's going to be seasons where you kind of have to shift your focus onto something else in life, whether you take a new job and you have to kind of put a little bit more focus on that and do a little bit less weightlifting and cardio. There's going to be seasons where you're literally growing a child. Like, the reason why we come to this earth is to have families, and sometimes you're just going to have to be okay with like going through the process of being pregnant. And something that I had to learn is that like when I get pregnant, I am extremely sick for like 24 weeks. It is like absolutely HE double hockey sticks, I'll tell you what. And so I don't work out during that time. I eat literally what I can, and I hardly eat. I lose a lot of weight, and I have to realize that that is a season of my life, and that I can't like obsess about being like in fitness during that time. And then you go through postpartum and you have to take your time. If you plan on breastfeeding, it's a season of life where you kind of have to like eat a little bit more and maintain your calories in order to maintain a milk supply. And so that's a season in of itself, and that's kind of what I'm like in right now. And maturity in the gym has taught me that eventually I can take more time for me and be a little bit more dialed in with what I'm eating. There's going to be seasons of building muscle. There's going to be seasons of leaning out, and it all is just like you have to have like perspective that like each season that you're in is not forever, whether that's for good or for bad. This season will not last. And so if you're in a season of cutting and you like love these abs, and just relish in it and be thankful for that time that you have to be lean. And then when you're building muscle, like totally just dive in and love the process, because eventually you get to lean out and show your beautiful muscles. What season are you guys in? I would love to chat with you guys where you are on this journey. Number 3 is to lift heavy and eat your protein. This is not going to make you bulky. In fact, when you are weightlifting and eating your protein and eating a proper amount of calories, you're actually gonna look the opposite of bulky. This is what's going to actually help you look toned. Kind of crazy to me sometimes that this is still like a common misconception, but weightlifting and eating your protein is actually what is going to get you the body that you want. Originally, I thought that like in order to like be at my best, I had to do like hours and hours of cardio, and that is just not the case. Spend your time in the weight room and lifting weights, because that actually burns more calories. And then use cardio as like a utility, and it's like kind of off the side. You go into the gym and you are focused on your lifts and you are working hard, you're pushing the weight. You hear tip number 6, because just weightlifting isn't like everything in terms of building muscle. So I'll go a little bit more into that on tip number 6. This leads me into tip number 4. I wish I would have known exactly what to eat before and after a workout when I first started, because I literally honestly had no clue. And I actually just started learning this a couple of years ago. Proper fuel around your workouts is like super important to get like the most out of your workout. If you're gonna be grinding and working so hard, you might as well be getting everything that you can out of them with these like simple things. A proper way to set up a meal around a workout is, one, you always wanna have like around 20 to 30 grams of protein before your workout and after your workout. So they're kind of gonna look a little bit identical. But you always want to have your protein at like every meal, honestly. So 20 to 30 grams of protein at each meal. And then the next thing that you want to do is you want to reserve a large portion of your carbs that you have in your daily intake before your workout and after your workout. So what that looks like for me is I'm having anywhere from like 40 to 50 grams of carbs before my workout and after my workout. The third thing is that you want to keep your fats low. So fats slow down the absorption of carbs. And so you need those carbs for energy and for fueling your muscles, and that's gonna help repair your muscles a little bit faster if you're gonna keep your carbs and not have like a whole lot of fats. So if you want to know a little bit more of what that looks like, I'd be happy to do a video. Be sure to let me know. Promise tip number 5. Sissy girl, I'm trying to talk. It's my turn. I love you so much. Can you say hi? I love you. Hopefully you can hear me over her trying to talk over me. If you're seeing all this like chaos in the background, I run a little e-commerce business. It's like DIY lashes and self-tanners and stuff like that, so it's kind of fun. But anyway, that's what that is in my office. Tip number 5, eating too little will backfire. Like I said, when I first started, I was eating like 1,400 calories, and for someone that is 5'11", even for a short person, I don't recommend going that low on your calories. There's a couple different reasons why, and that is because you're gonna have crappy energy levels. Your workouts are not gonna be as good as they could be. After a long period of time, it can stall your progress, and then the only way you can go from there is lower calories, which that like literally can ruin your metabolism, or you have to go up and you have to build up your basal metabolic rate, which is like the calories that you burn without doing absolutely anything. When you eat too little, your metabolic rate is gonna slowly get used to like those small amount of calories, and so like once that adjusts, like you're basically at maintenance with like tiny amount of calories, and like that, like I said, that can totally stall your progress and like force you to go into a surplus just to help your body get back into that. So yeah, you might lose weight temporarily, but your weight loss is going to completely stall. So I do not recommend that whatsoever. Save this in your mind. You cannot build a strong body when you don't fuel it. That leads me to tip number 6, and this is like the holy grail of building muscle, and that is progressive overload is like the only way to build muscle. So this is something I didn't know for like a really long time. It's kind of crazy. I mean, generally I kind of knew that like you had to push the weights in the gym and you kind of had to push one more rep, but to actually progressive overload, I don't know if I was actually ever doing that until I started prepping for my last show. Science behind it started coming out, and I was like, I kind of was doing that, but I didn't know that that was actually a thing. So I started tracking my workouts. I started tracking how much I was lifting, how many reps I was doing per lift, and really trying to up my weight a little bit each time I did that specific workout. So right now I'm doing like a progressive overload series on my Instagram account, and I'm showing like real time me building progress and strength back, and I'm using hip thrusts as the example. So each time I do hip thrusts, I'm tracking how much weight I'm doing and tracking how many reps. And the next time I do hip thrusts, I'm gonna try to do either 1 or 2 more reps or try to do a little bit more weight. And the more I do that, the more I can build muscle. And basically what it does is it fatigues your muscle past what they have done before. And so that's what's gonna rip that muscle tissue and rebuild it, and that's kind of like the building blocks of building muscle. So if your workouts aren't getting progressively a little bit harder every time, your body is not going to change. And with this, I just feel like there's so many things, like with a new channel, there's so many ideas I have. I could totally do a video completely on progressive overload. So if anybody is interested in that, I would be happy to do that. Tracking your lifts, you'd be surprised how like much more exciting the gym becomes and how much more motivating it is to like squeeze out one more rep, and you're just like, I freaking did it this week. So if you're new to fitness, if you've been in fitness for a little bit longer, or you kind of coming back to it, don't try to do everything perfectly. If you're trying to do everything perfectly, stop. Just stop. Don't do it perfectly, do it consistently. And do it because you love your body, not because you hate your body. Like I said, I've been in fitness my whole life, but I really started fitness when I was like 20 and focusing just on fitness. And these are the 6 tips that I wish I could tell my younger self so that I didn't have to go through all those hard learning curves with maintaining longevity. These 6 lessons changed everything for me. Tell me which ones hit home most for you. Let's talk in the comments. I will respond to every single one as my channel grows. I am excited to build a community here. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe. It will totally help my channel grow. It'll help me make an impact in more people's lives. That's truly like what my goal is here, is to help people, you know, overcome these challenges with fitness and make it simple and help them learn and grow and build their dream lifestyle in fitness and body and fitness. So like I said, if any of this was helpful, be sure to follow along and leave comments on what videos you would like to see in the future. Thanks, guys.